So I was thinking about feminism and how it's supposed to benefit women and some of the goals such as gaining equality with men in all things. Personally, I don't think men and women need to be equal in all things for society to function. And in some cases, equalizing men and women may not be a good idea. However, I find it interesting how feminists do not seem to care about one specific group of women. Well, that would be the unborn females in the womb. Now, I personally feel that it is a child at the moment of conception, but for the sake of argument, we could call it a fetus, a parasite, or a collection of cells, if you will. Okay, if you want to say it's not a living being, that's fine. But you cannot argue that if left unmolested, these collection of cells, parasites, or whatever you want to call it, will become a child and be born at some point. Now, while many male children are aborted, a good number of female potential lives are destroyed. I like to call these aborted cells potential human beings. So, how many potential female human beings have been aborted? Why does feminism support killing millions of potential female human beings? How can feminism talk about all these abuses that men have heaped upon women over the centuries, such as murder, rape, molestation, physical abuse, and more, but actively support aborting potential female human beings? Don't they get a chance to go get a job, go to school, marry, party, and enjoy life? Feminism is so worried about the gender wage pay gap, street harassment, and man spreading, but women are denying so many potential female human beings the chance at life. So while we hear about how men want power of women and rape being about power, we watch women exercise power over the most vulnerable females in our society. These potential developing human female beings can't protest, file lawsuits, go on slut walks, complain on daytime TV talk shows, or complain to politicians. These potential human female beings are being aborted, annihilated by their fully developed sisterhood. How strange that the very same people, women and feminists, who allegedly fight against patriarchy, are practically allowing patriarchy to help them abuse, maim, and abort and erase out of existence potential female human beings. How many women are not walking around enjoying life and fighting for equality right now alongside their sisters? I don't care for feminism. And personally, I think it's garbage. And the more I think about it, the more full of crap it is. You know, I think feminism has killed more female lives in the last 30 or 40 decades than patriarchy ever could have dreamed of. It's funny that abortion is considered a feminist right. But who owns most of the abortion clinics and sells most of the equipment used in those abortion clinics? I'm going to go out on a limb and say men. I know at this point you have a lot of nonprofit abortion clinics. I think you have women who you have more women buying them. But at the beginning, it was pretty much all men. For the most part, in the days right after abortion became legal, it was mostly men who owned the clinics. While there may have been some altruism behind their setting up these clinics, they were businessmen. Okay, once abortion was legalized, they didn't care. They just went into certain hospitals, certain states, certain hospital states, and started setting up clinics. Many of them established chains of abortion clinics. So it's kind of funny that feminism, the right for women, just made more money for men and more money for the patriarchy by killing potential female human beings. They made a lot of men a lot of money. Heck, if you really want to get down to it, I think even to this day, the majority of people, doctors who perform abortions, are actually still male doctors. So that's kind of funny that all that money they made these men, because it took women a long time to start setting up clinics, and then you had stuff like Planned Parenthood, but you made these male doctors millions of dollars, and actually, like I said, the majority of abortion doctors are still male. So good job making all these male doctors millions of dollars, you know, killing potential females. Sounds like some misogyny to me. What's really funny is that early feminists actually didn't like abortion. They called it a disgusting and degrading crime. Um, it's odd because back in the 1970s, they considered it the most fundamental right without which all other rights are meaningless. Abortion solves nothing. Almost four decades after Roe and Wade, we mourn the loss of 57 million American children that we will never meet. We will never know what they might have contributed to this world. But it's strange. The early feminists hated abortion. They thought it was disgusting. They thought it was a horrible crime. So what changed their minds? Two male members of the National Association to Repeal Abortion Laws were among the first to portray abortion as a right rather than an act of violence. And that's what early feminists thought it was, act of violence. Larry later promoted abortion as population control. His NARAL co-founder, Dr. Bernard Nathanson, saw a botched abortion in Chicago and reasoned that legal would mean safer. Nathanson later became pro-life, but in the early 1970s, the men traveled the country advocating the repeal of what they believed to be antiquated abortion laws. After failing to convince legislators anti-abortion laws were archaic, later saw an opportunity um, and approached leaders of the women's movement. He reasoned that if a woman wanted to be educated like a man, hired like a man, and promoted like a man, women should not expect the employers to accommodate pregnancy. So basically, they convinced these some of these early feminists to jump on the abortion bandwagon. So it's kind of odd. It's kind of funny to me that basically these women were manipulated by men, told, "Hey, this is what you should be killing your babies. You know, your potential female human beings." The feminists didn't actually come to this thought on their own. They actually had two men tell them to do it, tell them to go up there and create a basically argue and fight to create a new industry for basically in the beginning, for men to make money, which men are still making a lot of money off abortion. In the medical industry, most of the doctors are still who perform abortions are still male. A lot of these companies who make the equipment or whatever are probably male owned companies. I think it's about $480, $500 to get an abortion. A large chunk of that money is going to men. So, you know, basically, feminism is killing potential female human beings to make a lot of money for men. You know, so helping the patriarchy. So you're not fighting for equality. You're making men money while whittling down the number of women. Go, of course, killing male babies as well, potential male human beings as well. But it's kind of odd. You would think if you're so pro feminism, so pro women, you would think they would only abort the potential male human beings and not the potential female human beings. But they're doing both. I don't know. It's odd. And the whole time, the patriarchy that you hate so much is sitting back making big bucks off of it. Oh, and just for the record, while women make up an ever increasing amount of healthcare workers, they still make up just a only like 30-40% of executives. So the people who are at the top making the most money are still men. The industry's key decision makers are still men. Still the dudes making people making the most money. Also, in any case, even if the number of people, if there has been a big shift, let's say for a fact that women are the ones making the most money off selling the medical equipment, or the ones making the most money off abortion or medical industry, which I don't think that's actually the case. I still think, like I said, men are still the executives. A lot of these companies who make these medical equipment are still owned by men. A lot of people who perform abortions are men. But from now, since the first time abortions became legal until now, you still had men who made millions of dollars off that. And actually, if you compared it since abortion first became legal to now, that whole time, I still say men probably made more money off that. So at the end of the day, it's just my thoughts. It's just interesting to me that the most feminism is not protecting the most vulnerable women in our society, the most vulnerable potential female human beings. Just my thoughts.